The next coordinate system that we are going to learn is a cylindrical coordinate system. I think I've briefed you the importance of considering the different coordinate systems. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to construct a cylinder, and the point, any particular point in space can be represented in the cylindrical coordinate system. Any particular point in space can be represented in a cylindrical coordinate system. So if I wanted to represent a point in space here, then what I'll do is that I will draw a big cylinder and I will represent the particular point in that particular coordinate system. So let me consider the cylinder into two halves, and this is where my origin is present. This is where my origin is present, and this line which is passing through the center of the cylinder is what we are calling as the axis of the cylinder. This is what we are calling as the axis of the cylinder, and for some standard we are fixing this to be the z-axis. For some standard, is my voice audible? So in the cylindrical coordinate systems, we try to represent any particular point in space in terms of the cylindrical coordinates. Okay. So what are important in the case of the cylindrical coordinate systems? There are three parameters, three variables in fact. One is rho, the other is phi, and the third one is z. Rho, phi and z. So rho is the radius. Rho is the radius of cylinder. Phi is what we call as an azimuthal angle, or something we call it as an horizontal angle, and z is the distance from the distance, the z distance, the z distance. Okay, so we understand what is radius, right? So basically, if this is the axis of the cylinder, you see here the z-axis is what we are calling as the axis of the cylinder. Now in that case, radius we are having is nothing but the distance from the axis to the point. For example, if the point is here, the point is here, in that case also the radius is going to be the rho, distance of the point from the axis, is what we are calling as the radius of the cylinder. Z is nothing but the distance that you are covering, the height that you are covering from the origin. The height that you are covering from the origin is nothing but the z distance. Okay, if the particular point is here, let us say the point is here, then in that case, correct? It is still here. So now what is this particular angle phi? Generally, when you want to represent any particular angle, for example, this is nothing but the x-axis and this is nothing but a line, then what is the angle? The angle that we generally talk about is nothing but the anti-clockwise direction angle from the x-axis, right? The anti-clockwise angle from the x-axis is generally what we consider as a norm. Now here, when I am defining this particular angle, here also we are going to talk about the angle subtended by any particular point from the x-axis. The angle subtended by any particular point from the x-axis. Now please tell me, where is the x-axis? This is my z-axis, right? Yes or no? This is my z-axis. Now where is the x-axis? If this is my z-axis, I told you that z, then x, then y, then z. So when I fix that this is my z-axis, then x will be like this. Correct? Very good. Outwards. Outwards, right? Pointing towards you. Correct. Perfectly. So this is my x-axis, and of course this is going to be my y-axis. So something which is coming out of outside of the board is nothing but the x-axis. Now this is z, this would be x, this would be x, and this is nothing but the y-axis. This is nothing but the y-axis. Now, so when I talk about the angle, now you see the circle is something like this, right? The circle is something like this. Yes or no? The circle is something like this. This is the axis of the cylinder, z-axis. This is my x-axis coming towards you, is the x-axis. Now, the angle subtended by the point, you see, I am moving in the circle, right? So the angle subtended by any particular point from the x-axis, this is my x-axis. This is my x-axis. The angle subtended by any particular point from the x-axis, this angle is what we are calling as the azimuthal angle. This angle is what we are calling as the azimuthal angle. For example, the point is here. So what I'll do, this is my x-axis. What is the angle covered to that particular point? This is my azimuthal angle, or because it is horizontal angle, you see, I'm moving in the horizontal plane, right? Here I'm moving in the horizontal plane. So I can also call it as a horizontal angle. Because I'm moving horizontally here. Vertically means like this. Okay? Horizontal means I'm going like this. Okay? So from the x-axis, if I'm moving like this, so this angle subtended is what we are calling as an azimuthal angle. This angle subtended is what we are calling as an azimuthal angle. So z is the z distance. Is this angle clear to all of you? I'm sure that the radius is very simple. Radius is nothing but the distance from the axis of the cylinder, and z is nothing but the height that you're considering for a particular point. Okay, so I assume that everything is clear regarding the angle phi. Only point to note here is that the angle starts from x-axis. The angle starts from x-axis. Right? Now let us define the ranges of all these three parameters. What could be the possible ranges for all these three parameters? Rho, phi and z. Can you please tell me? So the rho radius, can I say that the range is from minus infinity to infinity? Can I say the range of rho is from minus infinity to infinity? Minus infinity to infinity, yes? Very good. It is from 0 to infinity. Why? Because of a very simple reason, that the radius can never be a negative value. The radius can never be a negative value. What about phi? The angle? The angle starts from here, goes here, goes here, goes here. Come back. Okay? So 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, 360 degrees. So I can write to 0 to 2 pi radians. And z, as you all know, minus infinity to infinity. This is nothing but the range of the different coordinates that we have considered. Now the next one is the direction, the unit vectors. Okay, so how do we define the unit vectors for radius? How do we define the unit vector for phi? And how do we define the unit vector for z? So we have considered, if you remember, in the case of the Cartesian coordinate system, how we have understood the unit vectors is that the direction in which the x varies maximum is what we have called as the direction of x. The direction in which the y varies maximum is what we have called as the direction of y. So simply, the direction in which x varies maximum is nothing but along the x direction. The direction in which y varies maximum is nothing but the y direction. The direction in which z varies maximum is nothing but the z direction. And here also, the direction in which radius increases maximum. Okay, the direction in which the radius increases maximum is nothing but the radial direction here. Now if you observe, if you go in this direction, what happens? The radius increases, right? More you go in this direction, the radius increases more. Okay, If I say like this, that is fine. Even this is fine. For example, if the point is present here, then I would have said in this direction. Okay. If I am considering here, if the point is here, then the radius increases in this direction. If the point is here, the radius increases in this direction. Are you able to understand? Because the point is here, what I am considering here, the radius increases in this particular direction. Because more I move in this direction, the radius of the cylinder increases. Like this. If the point is here, for example, if the point is here, the radius increases in this direction. If I have a point here, then the radius, this is nothing but my z-axis. The radius increases in this direction. Okay. So based on the particular point where I am selecting, I will be representing my radial axis. Okay. It moves. For example, the point is here. In this direction, the radius is going to increase. This is nothing but the radial direction. Okay. So let me consider it as aero bar or aero cap. Now coming to the top A5. Coming to the top A5, the direction in which phi varies maximum. The direction in which phi varies maximum. Can you please tell me in which direction the phi increases? In which direction the phi increases? This is my x-axis, right? If you see in this direction, the phi increases, right? This direction is nothing but the anti-clockwise direction. This is the direction in which the phi increases. So at this point I have to represent, because I have to represent at this point, this is the direction in which the phi increases, right? This is the direction in which the phi increases. Is this clear? Okay. So the anti-clockwise direction that I have selected here is in which the value of phi is going to increase. Do you agree with this? Is this clear? Now very simple question. In which direction the z increases maximum? So this is nothing but Az cap. This, if I can write it as A phi. Okay. So these are the three unit vectors that I have considered: aero cap, Az cap, A phi cap. Aero cap, Az cap, A phi cap. Now I told you that all of them are going to satisfy the orthogonality. So when they satisfy orthogonality, then aero cap dot A phi cap will be equal to A phi cap dot Az cap should be equal to Az cap dot aero cap. These are the perpendicular coordinates, right? Perpendicular directions. Because the system that we have considered is nothing but the orthogonal system. So all these directions that we are going to consider should be perpendicular to each other. So aero dot A phi should be equal to 0 if they are perpendicular. Okay. So all of them, because aero, A phi, Az indicate the orthogonal directions. Perpendicular directions. So the dot product between two of them should be equal to the dot of 0. The dot product between two of them should be equal to the dot of 0. So aero dot A phi is equal to 0. A phi dot Az is equal to 0. Az dot aero should be equal to 0. Next question is that what is the value of aero cross A phi? Because these are the perpendicular vectors. So what happens if I am doing the cross product? Aero cross A phi cross Az, Az cross aero. Right. So how do we do? Rho phi z. It means after rho, phi comes 90 degrees. After phi 90 degrees, z comes. And after z again, rho is going to come. And after rho again, phi is going to come. So when I do the cross product between two orthogonal vectors, I am going to get another vector which is perpendicular to both of them. And it's a right-handed coordinate system. If I move from rho to phi, cross product, I am going to get the normal to both of them, which is z direction. Similarly, if I do the cross product between phi and z, A phi cross Az, I am going to get the normal to both of them, which is aero. And rho cross phi, I am going to get Z. I mean, if I do AZ cross arrow, I'm going to get A phi. Okay, so the perpendicular coordinates or orthogonality that we have considered, which is yielding to, okay, so the condition that we are having here, and also using the concept of the right-handedness, we are even getting these particular results. See, we get confused often because sometimes we do opposite and we expect the same result, but actually it is not going to happen. It is only because of the right-handedness. Okay, so right-handedness means it has to satisfy this particular thing. So when you add 90 degrees to rho, you'll get phi. When you add 90 degrees to phi, you're going to get Z. When you add 90 degrees to Z, you're going to get rho. This has to be satisfied. And of course, between the parallel vectors, arrow dot arrow is equal to A phi dot A phi is equal to AZ dot AZ. The value is equal to that of 1. Parallel vectors cross product, arrow cross arrow, A phi cross A phi, AZ cross AZ. Is going to be equal to the top 0. Next, we have to understand the relation between the cylindrical coordinate system and the Cartesian coordinate system. We have already learned about the Cartesian coordinate system. Now we have to see the relation between the Cartesian and the cylindrical coordinate system. So we have XYZ and we have rho phi Z, right? In Cartesian, you are having XYZ. In the cylindrical, you are having rho phi Z. So two things. Z is common here. So if you are able to establish this relation, it will be good. One of the dimension is going to be common for the Cartesian coordinate system and the cylindrical coordinate system. So we are going to fix this coordinate which is common to us, and we are going to plane with the remaining coordinates which we are having. Now you see, if I am considering a cylinder here, this is my cylinder. Now what is the Z direction here? Can you please tell me in which direction we are having Z? If you are having a cylinder here, in which direction we are having Z? The axis of the cylinder, right? The axis of the cylinder is like this. Now what I am doing is that I am just rotating it like this, so that now the Z axis is pointing you. Now the Z axis is pointing you. Okay. Now I am going to fix this. Okay. Z is constant. Z is constant. So if I cut it, you're going to have a circular. Okay. It looks like a circle, right? Okay. So this is my cylinder. I'm cutting it like this. I'm fixing the value of Z. Okay. I'm fixing the value of Z. Now you see, this is my Z axis. What is this direction? If this is my Z direction, then what is this direction? Very good. So if this is Z direction, then I can say here this is going to be the X direction. Okay, please don't confuse. We'll come to rho. But as of now, let us understand, if this is my Z direction, this has to be my X direction. This has to be my X direction, and this has to be my Y direction. This has to be my Y direction. Okay. If this is Z, this has to be Y and this has to be X. So this circle is what I'm going to draw on the board. Okay. This is the circle that I'm going to draw on the board. Please understand. Okay. So this is the direction of the Z axis. So I'm fixing the Z. I'm fixing the Z here. As you told, this direction is going to be my X direction, and this direction is going to be my Y direction. Okay. What is this direction? If I have a point here, what is this direction? Very good. So this is what we are calling as a radius. This is what we are calling as the radius. Okay. So if I consider a point here, so this is nothing but what I'm going to consider as the radial direction. This is what I'm considering as a radius of a cylinder. Yes, this is nothing but the radius of the cylinder. What is this angle? What is this angle? Very good. So this angle is nothing but the phi. So here by fixing z, we are able to establish the relation between x, y, rho and phi. Okay. See, the direction of rho depends upon the point you are going to consider. See, if I am going to consider a point here, then this is going to be my rho, and this angle, this will be my phi. From starting from here to here, this is going to be my phi. So the rho direction is going to depend upon the point that I am going to consider, where my point is. Now, you see, if I am projecting this rho onto the x-axis, then I am going to get the x distance. Can you please tell me what is this x? If this is my rho, the x distance is going to be what? Rho cos phi. Yes or no? It is going to be rho cos phi. And similarly, this direction, this is going to be my y distance. So y distance is going to be rho sin phi. So x is rho cos phi and y is rho sin phi. So here we are able to establish the relation. We are able to write x and y in terms of rho and phi, correct? We are able to write x and y in terms of rho and phi. What if I want to write rho and phi in terms of x and y? What if I have to write rho and phi in terms of x and y? How can I write it? Rho and phi in terms of x and y? Very simple. I am going to square both of them. X square plus y square is equal to rho square cos square phi plus rho square sin square phi. It means rho square is going to be equal to x square plus y square. Rho square is equal to the top x square plus y square. Okay, so rho I can write it as under root of x square plus y square. Rho is something that we can write it as under root of x square plus y square. What about phi? Phi is something that I can write it as tan inverse of So by this, we can convert a point which is in the Cartesian to the cylindrical, and a point which is in cylindrical coordinates into the Cartesian. So please let me know what is the value of rho and phi here, because that is something that we already know. Here we have to find the values of x and y. So rho is nothing but under root of x square and y square. Yes, here it is under root of 5, and phi is something tan inverse y by x 2 by 1. So root 5 tan inverse 2, 3. And here x is going to be equal to rho cos phi. So cos phi is nothing but root 3 by 2, isn't it? cos phi is nothing but root 3 by 2. So rho cos phi 3 root 3 by 2. Y will be rho sin phi. So let me consider this is my rectangle, this is my circular track. Okay, you can consider even a running track that you are having which is circular in nature. Huh? Any running track that is present in circular in nature. Now, let me consider the radius of this circular track. The radius of the circular track is rho. And a person starts from here and he moves to this particular point. Okay? So from here to here the person is going to move. If the angle subtended here, let us consider the angle subtended as pi. Then what is the distance which is covered here? Here it is a radius and this angle is phi. Then what is the distance which is covered? The distance which is covered is length, which is equal to the of rho multiplied by phi. Length is equal to the of rho multiplied by phi. So more is the radius. If you are having more radius, it means more is the length that is going to be covered. Okay? So it is of course a function of rho and it is of course a function of phi. Okay? So the length that is covered is going to be equal to rho multiplied by phi. The maximum value of phi that can be covered, what is the value? The maximum value of phi which is covered is going to be 2 pi. Then the total length will be equal to 2 pi rho. The total length which is going to be 2 pi rho, which is nothing but the circumference of this particular circle. It is nothing but the circumference of this particular circle. Now, if this distance that I am going to cover is going to be very small distance, if this distance which is covered is going to be a very small distance, then how can I write this very small distance differential length as? How can I write this differential length as? If I am covering a very small distance over here, then how can I represent this very small distance? I can write it as rho multiplied by d phi. Because here, if you see, the radius remains the same. The radius is still the same. But what is changing is nothing but the angle, right? Now the angle that I am going to consider here is d phi. The radius remains the same. So it is radius which is a constant multiplied by d phi. Okay. So whenever we see the change in angle, then the corresponding length will be what? The corresponding length will be radius multiplied by that angle. Whenever we have any particular change in angle, if you want to know the corresponding distance which is covered, then what we will do? Radius multiplied by the change in angle. So this particular concept is very important because now we were going to learn about the differential length, differential surface and differential volume. Differential length, differential surface and differential volume. So let us come to the differential. Let us come to differential length. Differential length. So if you remember what we have learned in the Cartesian coordinate system, when we define the differential length, we have written it as what? The change in x direction, change in y direction, change in z the z direction. The similar thing I want to maintain here also. The differential length here is given by change in rho direction, change in phi direction, change in z direction. Is this fine? Change in rho in the rho direction, change in phi in the phi direction, change in z in the z direction. Is this fine? Is that okay? Completely okay, but only one thing that you have to observe here is that here there is a differential length, but we are equating the differential length to the differential angle. But whereas here we have equated differential length, we will get only when you are multiplying the differential change in the angle with the of its radius. Yes or no? And similarly, when you are equating the change in length and the change in angle, it might be wrong if you are not considering the radius of it. If you are not considering the radius of it. So it's very much important to represent the radius here, because never you can have the change in length is going to be equal to the change in angle directly. Here it is in radius, here it is in length. So what we have to keep here is nothing but the radius always. Radius always, because here also what we are doing is that, in which direction are we moving? Can you please tell me? In which direction are we moving? We are moving in the phi direction. We are moving in the phi direction. So I can say here dl is nothing but rho d phi in the phi direction. Rho d phi in the phi direction, correct? So whenever you are considering the cylindrical coordinate system, whenever you see d phi, along with d phi, you should always have this rho. You should always have this rho. This is a point to learn. Very, very important point. So this is about the differential length. Next comes the differential surface. Next comes the differential surface. The differential surface ds bar. The differential surface ds bar is given by what? If you remember, again going back to the Cartesian, if you write x direction, if you write y direction, if you write z direction, what is that we have written in the x direction? What is that we have written in the x direction? Can you please tell me? What did we write in the x direction? In the x direction, we have written dy dz. It means that, so whenever you are considering a particular direction, we will forget about the change in that particular direction and we will focus only on the change in the other two coordinates. We are going to focus on the change in other two coordinates. Please listen carefully. If I am talking about the x direction, then I will consider x as constant and I will only see the change in y and z. Similarly, if I see the y direction, then I will forget about y and I will see the change in the remaining two coordinates. If I talk about z, I will forget about z and I will see the change in the other two coordinates. So plus. Is this clear? That any particular direction we are seeing, we have seen that if you are talking about a YZ plane, a small part of it, the direction is nothing but in the x direction. So we are not seeing any change in the direction of x. What we are seeing is the change in the remaining two. The same concept will be applied in the case of the differential surface for the cylindrical coordinate system. So what we will do here is that differential surface, we will of course have the three directions. So whenever I am talking about the rho direction, what I will do? Rho direction, if I am talking about, I will see the change in the remaining two coordinates. When I am talking about the phi direction, I will see the change in the remaining two coordinates. When I am talking about the z direction, I will be saying the change in the remaining two coordinates. Is this fine? No, it is not fine, because every time you are having phi, we should always keep the radius along with it. So now it is going to become rho d phi dz, a rho d rho dz a phi, rho d rho dz az. So this is what we are calling as a differential surface. And then comes the third one, which is differential volume. The third one, which is differential volume. So dV is nothing but the change in all the coordinates. But when we are talking about the change in the phi, we will always keep the rho along with it.